morning, Year 2. Now, I know in science that you've been learning about the sun. So I thought in art this week we would draw a sunflower, which looks very much like the sun. And to make this sunflower drawing, we're going to be positioning the parts of the flower in the correct place and using our shading skills. Okay, to make this picture, you will need an A4 sheet of paper, a sharp pencil, a rubber, the photo of the sunflower, which is saved in the Class Dojo documents learning file for today, a plate to draw around, and a mug to draw around. And we're going to start off by looking at the photo of the sunflower. And if you look carefully, you can see that the sunflower is divided into 3 main sections. Right in the centre is the seed floret. That's where all the seeds grow, okay? Then around the edge, this is also where the seeds grow, but these sections are bigger and they have little stamens coming out of the holes in the flower. The last section is where the petals are, okay? Now we want to include all of these parts on our drawing. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it easier for ourselves. And we're going to make it easier by first of all dividing the paper into 4. So we're going to fold the paper over in half, and then we're going to turn the paper and fold it again. This just means that when we come to draw our sunflower, we can more easily work on one section at a time rather than trying to do it all at once. Then we're going to take our plate and we're going to position that in the centre and really lightly draw around the edge. Do it lightly because later on you're probably going to rub out that pencil line. Okay, so that shape is going to be where my petals come out to. Then in the centre, I'm going to find the wide end of my mug and place the mug in the centre. And lightly draw around it again. And this is going to be the outside section of the seed area. And then I'm going to turn the mug over so I've got the thinnest part of the mug. Place that in the middle and draw around the centre here. And this section is going to be where the seeds are growing, right in the middle of the flower. Okay, so I suggest you two that you stop the video there and complete those parts first. Okay, the next stage here too is to look at the centre where the seeds are growing. Look at the centre of the flower, okay? And you can see that the flower is divided into little circular shapes, and each one of those is a seeds. They start off very, very close together in the middle, and then as they move out, they are more spaced out. Also, when you look at it, it looks as if they're moving in a spiral shape. So when we draw this section on our pictures, we want to try and remember all of those features. So we said that the circles start off really close together in the middle. So I'm going to start by drawing those circles really tightly packed close together. Okay, and then as they move out, they get further away. There's a bigger distance in between each one. So you can see spaces in between each one. keep looking at your picture, because the ones right on the outside you can see are much less packed together than the ones in the inside and the ones in the outer space here. Okay. The other thing that we said that we could see was that the pattern moves in a spiral shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add lines like this to make it look as if the seeds are moving in that spiral shape. So year 2, I'm going to leave you to continue filling in that section of your picture. So you may want to stop the video to do that. Once you have done that section, your picture will look something like this. So I've filled in all of that middle seed section. I'm now going to think about the outer seed section, and we said there's lots of lines coming out of little holes. So I'm going to draw those lines, just quick pencil strokes coming out and up. And you can see that they're all sticking up in the same direction. So I'm going to make sure my little lines are all moving in that same direction. Okay, so again, year 2, I'm going to leave you to carry on with that step. You can see that the lines at the back are much more closely packed together than the lines at the front. So try and show that on your drawing as well. Okay, so you want to stop the video now and complete that section of your drawing. Once you've done that, year 2, you should have a picture that looks something like this. You can see the tightly packed seed section in the middle, and you can see the other seed section around the outside of that. I'm now going to look at the petals of the sunflower, and you can see that the petals overlap each other. Some of the petals, like this one here, you can hardly see. It's hiding behind this petal here. But all of the petals, if you look at this one, you can see that there's one underneath that's being overlapped by these two here. So you want to show that on your sunflower picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I've got my picture there ready to look at, and I'm going to start to add the petals. Okay, and then I can see one that overlaps on top of this one. And then there's one behind it, just peeking out. I'm going to draw that as well. Okay, petal here. And one peeking out behind it. And another one here. There's one that overlaps this one. Okay, and I'm going to keep going, looking at where those petals overlap and drawing them from the centre of the flower. And if you notice, I'm going just about as far as where I've drawn the circle to help me, to guide me in my drawing. Okay, so keep looking at how the petals overlap on the flower. Okay, now this is another good place to stop the video, year 2, and you can carry on and finish off doing your petals on your sunflower. Okay, once you've done that, year 2, you should have a picture that looks something like this. The next thing we're going to do, year 2, is start to think about shading the sunflower. Now, if we look at the middle part of the sunflower where the seeds are, this is the darkest part of the sunflower. You can see it's black around the edge and then it's a yellow colour in the middle. So what I'm going to do to shade this part of my sunflower is, again, remember how to hold your pencil when you shade. You move your hand up the pencil and you use the side of your pencil. So I'm going to shade in around the edges. This is going to be the darkest section. I'm going to make sure there's a really dark line around the edge of the seed section, and then it's going to be dark all the way in, and as I move in, the shading is going to get lighter. Now remember, when you shade, you want to move your pencil in one direction, and you want to make sure that there are no gaps in your shading. So as I move over to the edges, I'm going to press harder with my pencil to make the shading darker. Okay. And then what you might want to do to show that yellow bit in the middle is just to really gently use your rubber to not rub away all of those circle shapes, but just to lighten that section where the flower is a yellow colour. So you've got three different shading colours. You've got a light rubbed out section, you've got a darker grey, and then you've got the darkest grey around the edge in the darkest part of the flower. Okay, now I'm going to leave you to carry on shading that middle section of your flower. And so it's a good place here to stop the video for you to do that. Okay, once you've finished shading that section of your flower, look at the next section around. You can see it's darker around the edges again than it is in the center part of it. Okay, so again, shade darkly around those edges, and then make your shading lighter as it comes in. Okay, dark around the edges and then lighter as you come in. Okay, again, you finish off your shading in that section, stop the video and have a go at doing that yourself, year 2. The next thing we're going to concentrate on is shading the petals. Now if you look around the edge of the seed part of the flower, you can see that the petals are darkest there. So I'm going to shade those sections just lightly. And then some of them, like this one here, can you see there's a shadow going up the petal? So I'm going to shade that shadow in as well. So what I suggest you do is you go around and look for the shadows on those petals. Year 1, year 2. And you shade in from the center up. Keep looking at the picture to see where that shading is. And remember to move your pencil in the one direction and make sure there are no gaps in that shading. So I'm looking here. Okay. Year 2, I'm going to leave you to carry on doing that shading on your sunflower so that finally you should have a picture that looks something like this with all your shading put into the picture. Okay. The next step you need to do is to go over some of the lines, not all of them, but go over some of the lines that you have drawn to really make them stand out. You can go over the edges of each section, and you can go over the shapes that you've created in each section. You can also highlight the petals on your flower. Okay, maybe if I show you on this one that I was demonstrating on before, so you can go over the shapes, over that spiral section, around the edges of the seed section, around the edges of the outer seed section, and then highlight the petals as you go too. Okay, and once you have done that, year 2, you should have your finished sunflower picture. Okay, good work, year 2. I really look forward to seeing your work in your dojo portfolios, and work hard. Hope you enjoy making your sunflower picture. Bye-bye.